we have a short one today. This will be commandment 5 and 6. Well, I'll try to make it short, not to stretch it out too far. Disregard if you hear some noises outside. They're doing some construction work out there, but I wasn't going to let that stop. Wasn't going to let that stop today. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to look at commandment or instruction number 5 and number 6, right? So let's get right into it. So we're in the book of Exodus chapter 20, starting at verse 12 in Exodus 20. It says, "Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee," or is giving you. So this is the first commandment with a promise and honoring our parents, our fathers, and our mothers. Right, so we'll just look at that one before we go into the sixth one. So it says, "Honor thy father and thy mother," or honor your father and your mother, "that thy days may be long upon the land which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee," or is giving you. So it's the first commandment with a promise to honor our family. Right, and let's look at this word honor. It's H3513 in the Hebrew. And it means a lot of things that seems like it doesn't even go with honoring the parents, but some of them do. So it means in the Hebrew, rich, numerous, to make weighty, or abounding with more. It means to boast, to glorify, honorable, promote, or to honor, basically. Something honorable or to promote. And basically, I wrote some synonyms with it. It means to respect or to esteem, to reverence, because that's what it means to make honorable or to promote, right? It's to esteem them, to reverence them, to make weighty. You know when you say something, when we say something is weighty, somebody may say something about the Father, or he may open up some type of truth to us, and we're like, man, that's weighty, or that holds weight with that statement that was just said. So in the Hebrew, it means to make weighty, right? To reverence, respect, or esteem, honorable. This is what it means to honor our parents. In short, it means just to respect them or to reverence them and esteem them. We're going to read some verses. We're going to see how we can do this, right? And I want to just point something out real fast. It says, while honor is required, ultimate obedience belongs to Yah. So while honor is required, ultimate obedience, it goes to the Father. And we're not obligated to obey our parents' instructions if it contradicts divine law. So we're not obligated to obey our parents if they lead us in a way that's not according to Yah's word. But if they are not leading us in a way that is contrary to Yah's word, we should listen to them, we should honor them, we should reverence their voice, right? We should obey our parents. Even if we get older, we should still respect them and show them reverence for who they are as our fathers and as our mothers, as our dad and as our mom on this earth, right? So let's go to some verses and look at some verses. Exodus 21, verse 15 and verse 17. It says, and he that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. So of course that's a serious thing, to smite or to hurt or to hit or to kill. It could be any of those things right there. He that smiteth his father or his mother shall be put to death. Verse 17, and he that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. And that word curseth means to despise or to lightly esteem, which that kind of goes, that's the contrary of honoring, right? To lightly esteem them. We shouldn't lightly esteem them, right? We may not get along with our parents, our moms, or our dads. We may not all agree on the same things, but there should still be some respect there for our moms and for our dads. And when it says lightly esteem, it made me think of a verse in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 2. It says, those who honor me, I will honor, and those who despise me shall be lightly esteemed. And that's what Yah has spoke. He has spoke that those who honor him, he will honor, and those who despise him or those who hate him, he will lightly esteem them, right? It won't be much respect for them, right? All right, so let's go to another verse in Leviticus chapter 19. We're just going to make our way all the way to the New Testament. Leviticus chapter 19, honoring our parents. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 3. It says, ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, or you shall fear your mother and your father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am Yah, your Elohim. It's interesting how he mixes two commands in one, but he says we should fear every man his father and his mother. And then he says, I am Yah. So we should fear them, we should reverence them, right? That's what it means. We should reverence them for who they are, for bringing us into the world, right? Let's go to 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 2. 1 Kings chapter 2. 1 Kings chapter 2. 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 19. 1 Kings 2, verse 19. It says, Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon, her son, to speak unto him for Adonijah. And the king rose up to meet her and bowed himself unto her and sat down on his throne and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother. And she sat on his right hand. So even by him doing this, he was honoring his mom. When she came, it said the king rose up and met her and bowed himself. It makes me think of the hoary head in the scriptures. In the law of Yah, it says that we're to bow before the hoary head. When a man comes in, hoary headed, gray headed, he comes in, he's been walking with Yah. He's been walking with Yah for this long. He has much respect. He has much honor. He has much wisdom. We are to raise up and stand up out of our chairs to show this man or this elder respect. And that's the way that we fear Yah. I don't know exactly what the verse is, but it says, you shall honor the hoary head and fear Yah, your Elohim. It's somewhere in here. I can't remember exactly where. But we see even Solomon did this for his mom. It says again, 1 Kings 2, verse 19, Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon to speak unto him for Adonijah, and the king rose up to meet her and bowed himself unto her, or did her reverence, obedience, and sat down on his throne and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother. And she sat on his right hand. So we see that he showed her respect, his mom. Right? Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1. Verse 8. Verse 8 and verse 9, it says, My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head and chains about thy neck. So it says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, or of your father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head and chains about thy neck. So it's beautiful. It's saying to hear the instruction of a father and forsake not the law of your mother. When you see that word, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably still the word Torah. And what's interesting, it says, hear the instruction of a father and forsake not the law of your mother. If we think about this, when we live in our parents' house, if we're living in our parents' house, and there's nothing wrong with that, don't rush out of the house. We're taught in this world that we need to just go ahead and rush out of our house really quickly. I know that's how I was when I was 18, 19. I had my own place. We rush out of the house. We get out of the house. You see what I'm saying? And that's something that we're taught. We're not taught that it's okay to stay in your father's or your parents' house until you get yourself together, or until you build yourself, you grow into a man or grow into a woman. But we rush so much out because we're taught this. And there's nothing wrong with staying in a man or a woman staying in their parents' house until they get things going, right? We see that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we see these things in Scripture. But it says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father and forsake not the law of thy mother. When we're living in our parents' house, our mother has a law, or our mother has a Torah. The word Torah or Torah, it means instruction or guidance. I know my mom had a Torah. There was certain stuff I couldn't do when I lived with my mom. I'd be growing up, she'd be like, don't go in the fridge. Stay out of the fridge when it's late. And our old fridge used to make this squeak noise. So I could go through the hallway trying to sneak something to eat. Late in the night, she could hear me. Right, I'm going against her Torah. I'm going against my mom's law. Right, so it says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father and forsake not the law of thy mother. So if we're in our parents' house, they have a law, they have an instruction, right? They have things that they want us to do. They may want us to take out the trash. And I'm just speaking to us. You know what I mean. Or if you have children, you know what I mean. Or if you've lived in your parents' house and you don't now, you know what I mean. Of course, most of us are on our own at this point in life. But our parents had instructions. Take out the trash when you get home from school, right? Go cut the grass when you get home from school. And it's good looking back. I used to play a lot of basketball, so I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to go hoop, right? But I know I couldn't go to the gym unless I cut the grass. There was a few things I had to do. And my mom was on me like, you're not going nowhere until you go cut the grass. You're not doing X, Y, and Z until you go do this or go do this, right? She had a Torah. She had instruction, right? Or say if I wanted to do something and I didn't have what she wanted me to do, right? If I didn't have what she wanted me to do, then I couldn't go do what I wanted to do. Just for example, say I wanted to go bowling, I wanted to go skating or something like that on a Friday. I want to go skating with my friends or something like that. If I wouldn't have did all of what I needed to do, she would have not have let me go. You see what I'm saying? It would have been something there hindering me because I wasn't listening to her. And the Father is the same way. In the book of Proverbs 28, look, Proverbs 28, verse 9. Proverbs 28, verse 9, it says, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. That's powerful. But Yah says the man or the woman who turns their ear away from hearing his law or his instruction, their prayer shall be an abomination. Right? So even looking at the Father, like if just given a parable type situation, if I'm in a house, I'm not doing anything my parents are doing, asking me to do. I'm not doing anything my father's asking me to do. Right? I got clothes all in my room. He walks in my room. He steps on a Hot Wheel, and now he's yelling at me because he stepped on a Hot Wheel, and now he's hot because the bottom of his feet is hurting because he just stepped on a Hot Wheel that I didn't move. I got all this stuff in the room, and he's like, I've been telling you all week to clean your room, son. I've been telling you to take out the trash. Why are you not listening to me? But then when it comes to me wanting to do something, I ask him. He's like, no, you're not going. He's disciplining me as a good father should. He's disciplining me, and now I'm mad because I can't go out with my friends and do these things, but I haven't been listening to my father's Torah or his instruction, his law, all week or the last 2 weeks. So when I pray to him, I can't expect, or when I ask him something, I can't expect him to be like, oh yeah, I got you, son. Yeah, that's cool. And Yah's the same way. Proverbs 28, verse 9, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. That's what the Most High says, right? So we see that Proverbs 1, verse 8, hear the instruction of a father, forsake not the law of your mother, her instructions, right? Basically, obey your parents. Obey your parents. Even in old age, if they don't tell us to go or are leading us outside of Yah's way. But if we look at Proverbs 23 now, 22 through 25. Proverbs 23, 22 through 25, it says, hearken unto thy father that begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old. Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begatteth, or he who has a wise child, shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. So even just by listening to our parents, this brings them great joy, because a good parent, a good mom or a good dad really just wants the best for their children. And I know a lot of stuff that we don't understand growing up, it's like, man, that she's hard on me, or my dad's hard on me, right? But they're leading us in a way that getting older we'll be like, okay, I wish I would have listened in, or now I know why you told me this. Now I know why you were leading me this way. Or now I know why you disciplined me in this area. Now I know why you didn't let me get everything, right? And we can even apply this to ourselves and how we are with the Father when He's leading and when He's doing something and when He doesn't answer every prayer. He hears all things. He doesn't answer every prayer. Sometimes it's for our good. Sometimes we could be asking something that's going to put us in a great bind or going to harm ourselves. He's for our best interest, right? Right? So thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and they that bear thee shall greatly rejoice. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begats a wise son. Right? And in the Proverbs it says that wise son makes a glad father, and a wise son hears instruction. So we should definitely be wise. We should be wise. So even in all these proverbs, we see a wise child or a wise son. He listens to his parents. He hears the instruction of his mother. He hears the instruction of his father. He hears their instruction. He hears their guidance. Right? This is what it means to honor them. And if we're thinking about it, this is how we honor the Most High as well. Hearing his instruction. Right? Loving him back. Being willing to hear. Being willing to listen to him and go with his guidance. We know he knows everything. He knows everything. He's leading us in the right way. Right, let's go to 2 New Testament verses now. Ephesians chapter 6. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 through 3. Ephesians 6, verse 1 through 3. Ephesians 6, 1 through 3, it says, children, obey your parents in the master, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest live long on the earth. So this is the first commandment with promise, to honor them. And we see how we honor them in verse 1. Children, obey your parents. So being obedient to your parents. Being obedient to your parents. Me being obedient to my mom and my dad. You being obedient to your parents. Or if you have children, your children being obedient to you is how they honor you. Right? If we go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 20, it says the same thing. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing unto Yah. And that's what I meant. That's what I meant by if we're not in good standing with our parents, our mom, or if we're not in good standing with our dad, there still should be some reverence to them and some respect to them and some honor to them, as we see in this verse. For this is well pleasing unto Yah. Or this is well pleasing to the master, right? That we do these things for our parents and do these things to them because we're pleasing him by doing it. You know, hopefully we all are in good standing with our parents, but I know sometimes when we come on this walk that it can be conflict. You know, brothers and sisters in various countries, sometimes they're killed for this, right? They're unalived for coming to the faith, or they put out of their house for coming to the faith, right? They're Buddhists, or we're Buddhist, or we're whatever the case it may be. Yeah, you accept the Messiah you want to. You're not living in this house. These things happen all the time. These things happen all the time. So we can see that even us honoring them, it's pleasing to Yah. It pleased the Father, but there always is sometimes, not always, but sometimes there is conflict in the household, but we still should respect them where respect is due, even if we don't agree on the same things, right? All right, so that's the 5th commandment. We honor them by simply obeying them, listening to them, listening to their wisdom, because they do have wisdom. My parents do have wisdom. They've been on this earth longer than we have, right? And unless they're telling us to go outside of Yah's will, we should respect their word. We should have reverence for their word. We should listen to them, for this is well pleasing to our Father in heaven. And I know you want to please the Father. I pray you want to please the Father. So we're going to go to commandment number 6 now. It's basically thou shalt not kill. You should not kill, which means to murder, to put to death, or to be a manslayer, basically, to put to death. It means to kill, to put to death. That's basically pretty much simply what it means. You should not kill, murder, put to death, manslayer, right? So let's go to Matthew chapter 5, where the Messiah speaks about this. Matthew chapter 5, beginning at verse 21. He says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill. And whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. Man, our words mean something. Our words matter. Our words can send us, as the Messiah says, to hellfire by calling a man a fool. I'll read verse 22 again. It says, "But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, or you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire." Man, we have to keep our tongue, right? We have to keep our tongue. And this is him speaking about killing, right? Not murdering. And not even being angry with our brother without a cause. You know, the scriptures does say we can correct one another. If I offend you, or if you offend me, I can correct you, or you can correct me, right? If I've offended you and you let me know these things, hey, Mel, you offended me when you said X, Y, and Z, and my response should be, "Oh man, I'm sorry for that. You know, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. Do you forgive me?" Right? So we can reconcile. So then I can ask the Father to forgive me for offending His child, right? Because we're all His children. Right? My brother or my sister. Okay? So we see that, and he says not to be angry without a cause with our brother. Right? Let's look at another verse when he was speaking about this killing, which is the physical, but we know the Messiah brought the spiritual as well, which it was always there in the law. But we see he was bringing the spiritual out as well. Don't even be angry with your brother. Right? Sometimes it's anger. We know what happened to Jacob and Esau. Esau had this hate in his heart for Jacob for a long time. You know, I'm gonna kill him, is what he said. I got him. I got him. I will take care of Esau. I will take care of Jacob. Where is that at? If I can find it real fast. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Genesis 27, verse 42. You know, when Jacob ended up taking having the birthright, Genesis 27, 41 and 42. It says, "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob." Verse 42, "Then the words of Esau, her elder, and these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, Behold, thy brother, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doeth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee." Why? Because verse 41 says he hated Jacob. Right. So we see even in this what the Messiah is saying. We should not kill. Verse 22, "But I say unto you, whoever is angry with his brother." Right. So Esau was ready to kill Jacob. He was ready to kill Jacob. Right. So let's go to 1 John chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3, verse 15, it says, "Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer hath or has eternal life abiding in him." Whoever hates his brother is a murderer, right? So this is getting to the heart of the matter. Whoever hates his brother is a murderer. And we see that was birthed in Esau when he hated him. You know, things happen like this in life. Sometimes you can be so bitter. I can be so bitter. Men have been so bitter. I'm sure I have in my past. Men have been so bitter in situations, and only by his grace, I don't get that way now. But men can be so bitter, or can get in a situation because something has happened to them, and can have this hate in your heart, you know. And if you're that type of guy or that type of girl, you may be ready to hurt somebody, right? This is not what the Father wants us to do, right? This is murder. This is murder because the intent is there, right? What did David say in Psalm 24? Clean hands and a pure heart, right? Clean hands and a pure heart. And that's what the Father desires mostly. It's clean hands and a pure heart from all of us. Let's look at it from another angle now. I'm pretty sure you've heard this verse in Proverbs chapter 18. Proverbs chapter 18, I don't even have to go there. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So even how we speak to one another, how we speak to ourselves. How are we speaking to ourselves? How are we treating ourselves? Are we down on ourselves? Do we if we've done something wrong, if we've done some type of wrong, right? Do we hate ourselves? Do we speak bad about ourselves? Do we speak bad about others, right? Do we do these things? Because death and life are in the power of the tongue. We can bring people down by our words. So we can unalive somebody or speak death over people by the things that we say to them, right? So we have to watch our mouth. We have to watch our words. We have to watch the things that come out of our mouth, because death and life are in the power of our tongue. That's how it is with our Father in heaven. He can speak. We know even the Messiah, it says out of his mouth shall go a sharp sword in the book of Revelation, right out of his mouth. And we know the word is like a sword in Hebrews chapter 4, right? So we're made in his image, right? So our word can create. I can create things in your life by how I speak to you. You can create things in my life about how you speak to me and how you treat me, right? Your words toward me. So truly, death and life are in the power of the tongue. You know, thou shalt not kill. It's not just the physical, but it's these spiritual applications as well, as the Messiah said. And as it says in 1 John, hating your brother in your heart, right? Let's go to James. Let's go to the book of James. Now, before we go there, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers, and grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption, right? So we see not letting corrupt communication come out of our mouth, how we speak to others and how we speak to ourselves, the mental life, you know. I think Peter says, not Peter, but Paul says we should think on those things which are good. You know, motivate yourself. Well, I can do this. I can overcome this. You know, and this is something we can all apply to ourselves. I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself as well. I can do this. I can overcome this. I can do this a little bit better, right? Y'all will help me with this. I can sort this out. Whatever the case it may be, speaking encouraging words to others, but also to ourselves, So now let's go to the book of James. James chapter 3, and we'll close out with these verses in James chapter 3. James chapter 3, about the mouth. James 3, starting at verse 6. It says, and the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth or defiles the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, but hath been tamed of mankind, or it has been tamed of mankind, the things that are in the sea, the birds and the beasts. Verse 8, but the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Verse 9, therefore we bless Elohim, even our Father, or even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of Elohim. So it says, with this mouth we can bless Yah, but then we curse men, which are made in his similitude, or which are made in his likeness, right? So we should look at one another like that. I should look at you and be like, all right, that's Yah's temple, right? I don't want to defile Yah's temple. I don't want to defile Yah's temple. If there was a sanctuary or a temple for us to go in, I wouldn't want to go in Yah's temple and defile it, right? I wouldn't want to bring anything unclean in there, right? I wouldn't want to push stuff down in Yah's house, in reverence for Yah. You go to the back, the Ark of the Covenant is back there, the presence of Yah is back there, the glory of the Most High is back there. I don't want to come in here just any kind of way. And we should look at that with ourselves, and we would do well if we look at one another like that as Yah's temples. When he says, therewith bless we Elohim, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of Elohim, or which are made like him. We're made in his image. So when you see me and I see you, when we see one another, we should look at one another like we are both his temple. Let's show one another respect, right? Let's not beat one another down. Let's not hate one another in our hearts. Let's be cordial. Whether we agree on the same things or we disagree on stuff, let's show one another respect. Let's love one another. As James said, in deed and in truth, and not word only. Right, so I hope this blessed you with the fifth commandment, honoring our parents by simply obeying them, listening to them, showing respect to them, helping them if they're older, helping them with what they need. You may help them with take out the trash. They may not be able to take out the trash now, right? They may need help with the dishes or something like that. They may need help at the house. Hey Mel, could you come up and help me do this? I can't get to it, or I can't do that, right? That'll be honoring my parents. You see what I'm saying? And listening to them, listening to their wisdom in all things that they would have us to do for them, and all things they would have us to do unless they're telling us to go outside of YAH'S will, right? And then the sixth commandment, thou shalt not kill. Of course, we shouldn't be doing these things to one another. We shouldn't do this to anybody. But that's spiritual as well. We shouldn't speak death over people, right? We shouldn't hate one another in our hearts. We should ask Yah to help us with that so we can get forgiveness for that, so we can repent from that if we have hate toward one another. That's not how he wants us to live. So I pray this blessed you. I truly do. And I hope you have a great and a wonderful day. Shalom.